Hello, lovely people, and welcome to this week's Friday Fix. Today, I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to improve your sleep. Um, and I'd be very eager and interested to hear from you about what strategies and what techniques you have used that have helped you to improve your sleep too. Some of us find when we first stop drinking that our sleep patterns can be adversely affected. In other words, our sleep can get worse before it gets better. It does ultimately get better because your body and your mind have to go through a period of readjusting, a period of resettling and rebalancing, sorting themselves out before you kind of get back into your new healthy, restful sleep normality. But sometimes it can take a while to do that. But there are things you can do to help yourself along the way. So today I'm going to share 10, let's get you in the camera, 10 top tips as to how you can improve your sleep. So number one, do you like my impressive little GIF there that's going up and down? I did wonder actually if that might be a bit distracting, so I'm not sure if I'm going to keep using GIFs. But yes, lowering your temperature before you go to bed is a really healthy, helpful thing to do. Research has been done which shows that people who have baths, warm showers, an hour or two before they go to bed tend to sleep better. And that's because the warmth of the bath or the shower is heating the body up externally, and so the blood inside the body has to cool down to counteract that. And in that cooling down process, your body is kind of getting itself in the absolutely perfect kind of range of temperature for you to go to sleep more easily. So finding ways to cool your body down, like having a hot bath, like having a hot shower, like having a bedroom where there is no heating on, or if you want to have the heating on, that you make sure you turn it off before you go to bed. But having a nice cool room, having your body at a cool temperature will aid your sleep. Number two, relaxation techniques. Of course, lots of people are rightly talking about yoga, talking about mindfulness, talking about listening to music. I want to quickly introduce you to something actually. I don't know if you've come across it before. I certainly hadn't. And it's called 4-7-8 breathing. That's 7-8 breathing. I was trying to do a fancy little da da da, but it's not working. My fingers aren't fast enough. So yeah, 4-7-8 breathing technique. And you'll remember it now because I've fluffed my fingers. But basically what you do is when you get into bed, you breathe in slowly to the count of 4. So as you breathe in, and you breathe in through your nose, you close your mouth, you breathe in slowly, and you count to 4 in your head as you're breathing in. So that's the 4. The 7 is when you've breathed in, you've counted to 4, you hold your breath and count to 7. And then when you've held your breath, you've counted to 7, you then, don't know how I'm going to explain this, you kind of put the tip of your tongue behind your top teeth and you let out your breath while you're inwardly counting to 8. And as you let out your breath, you make a kind of whooshing sound. So it's kind of like, and I've got the top of my tongue right behind my teeth. And you repeat that 3 or 4 times. So in for 4, hold for 7, out for 8. When you breathe in, you're breathing in through your nose, mouth closed, holding your breath for 7, and then and count for 8. Hope that makes sense. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a link in the comments below to an article all about sleep. And I think in this article, it mentions the 4-7-8 breathing. But if it doesn't, I'm sure you can search it online and find out. It's not tricky. And number 3, sleep schedule is really important. Our bodies have their own internal body clock. We call this your body's circadian rhythm. And it basically means that you can set a program for your body and mind to follow. And your body likes it if the program stays the same. So if you can get into a set routine where you're going to bed at roughly the same time every evening, and you're getting up, setting your alarm at roughly the same time every morning, of course you can have exceptions. But if you can do that and have a kind of sleep schedule, that will really help as well. Let me just check my notes, see if I've written any. Wind down before bed. Yeah, so prior to your going to bed, if you can find an activity that you regularly do, like journaling, reading, having a bath, bit of yoga, bit of mindfulness, something like that. If you have something that can help you to wind down and relax before you go to bed, that's even better. That can become part of your sleep schedule. Okay, next one. It would help if I could work this thing. Okay, number 4. You want to have a contrast in your days between day and night, light and darkness. The more you can experience daylight during your day, the better. And the more you can experience darkness at night, the better. So if you can grab every opportunity you possibly can to go outside, to be in the air, to be under the daylight sky, whether there's sunshine, clouds, whatever it is, but if you can grab every opportunity to be in the daylight, and then at night you can make sure that the house is, there's darkness infiltrating the house. There aren't bright lights on everywhere. And particularly in your bedroom, you want to make sure that your bedroom is nice and dark. Your body needs to know the difference between day and night in order to prepare itself and get itself ready. Because when your body is given the chance to kind of get itself ready for what it knows is your sleep time, your night time, you're much more likely to get a better night's sleep. And it also says on my notes here, darkness boosts the production of melatonin, which is an essential hormone for sleep. So you do want to make sure that that contrast, you are experiencing that contrast between daylight and darkness, so that your body gets a chance to produce all of the melatonin it needs to aid restful sleep. Okay, tip number 5, create a calm environment. This might sound really obvious. It's really obvious to me, but I have to hold my hands up and admit I don't always do this, and I don't always proactively think about doing this. So you want to make sure that your bedroom is dark, that it's cool, that it's quiet, that it's comfortable, that it's relaxing, that it's inviting, that it's not too warm. Maybe you want to make it cozy. Maybe you want to light candles. Maybe you want to have some plants or flowers. Maybe you want to keep it clean and tidy. Maybe you want to have some relaxing music playing in the background. Whatever relaxing, cozy and comfortable means to you, you can create the bedroom that's going to be most likely to send you off to a good night's sleep. But just remember, temperature is important. The cooler you can have your bedroom and still be comfortable in it, the better. And remember, of course, that you are going to warm up when you get into bed. Sometimes I notice that the bedroom is quite cold, and I'm a little bit cold when I first get into bed, but it only takes me 10-15 minutes or so before I warm up, and I'm absolutely fine. And tip number 6, cut out the screens. I think we pretty much all know this, But how many of us actually do it before we go to bed? For a good 30 minutes to 60 minutes before bed, you need to eliminate screen time. That blue light that comes from your mobile phone, from the computer screen, even from the TV. Although I've heard it said that the TV screen isn't quite as bad. Um, but I've certainly cut out my laptop, I've cut out my mobile phone. I set my alarm on my mobile way before I'm going to bed, so I don't need to look at it before I go to bed. I put it on silent way before I go to bed, so again, I don't need to faff around with the mobile phone. So I've eliminated all the screens apart from TV. I do like a big widescreen TV and a good drama movie before I go to bed, but that doesn't seem to affect me too adversely, so that's not so much of a problem. But the more you can eliminate your screens before bedtime, the better. I'm not quite sure of the science behind it, but I know there's loads of research that's been done that's to do with the blue light of a screen. Kindles, interestingly enough, are okay because Kindles have been specifically designed to avoid the blue light syndrome, which can prevent restful sleep. So if you want to go to bed and read a Kindle, that's okay, which I'm very glad about because that's exactly what I do. So tip number 7, the more physical exercise you can get during the day, the better. And of course, like I said before, if you can get some physical exercise outdoors in the daylight, get your body to be experiencing the contrast between day and night, the better. So if you can double up physical activity with getting some fresh air and daylight, even better. But the more physical activity you can do during the day, the more likely it is that you're going to be able to rest, relax, and sleep in the evening. Tip about physical activity, though, is not to do it too close to bedtime, because what happens is when you do physical activity or exercise, it raises the serotonin and the dopamine and all the feel good chemicals, and it can kind of put you on a high, and you don't want to be on too much of a high before you go to bed because you might struggle to get to sleep. So make sure you are doing your exercise in the morning if you can, early afternoon at the latest. Tip number 8, pen and paper. Lots of people, and this isn't for everyone, but lots of people say that by keeping a notepad and a pen by their bed, or by taking some kind of journal or diary to bed with them, and by just doing something as simple as keeping a gratitude journal or reflecting on the day before they go to bed, or jotting down some of the things that they need to do tomorrow, starting a to-do list for the next day, that can really help to get those thoughts out of the head and onto paper, so that if you do wake up during the night, your brain isn't having to circle round and round and round thinking of all the things you've got to do because you've already got them down on paper. And it's quite a cathartic, therapeutic, and relaxing thing to do to get things onto paper. If pen and paper isn't your thing, you can always use an audio recording device on your mobile phone. But lots and lots of people report, and the research has been done that shows actually getting stuff out onto paper, taking it out of your head and putting it somewhere else can really help. Tip number 9, of course, there are supplements. Now, I can't recommend or discuss or vouch for these supplements because I've never used any and I don't know enough about them. But any research that you do on sleep supplements will throw up magnesium. Actually, I'm lying, I take magnesium and I don't tend to have much problem sleeping. So whether that's to do with the magnesium or not, I don't know. 5-HTP, which is hydroxytryptophan. 5-hydroxytryptophan is a good one. Melatonin is a good one. L-theanine is a good one. And GABA is a good one. That's interesting. I also take GABA. So there we go. I'm a bit late to the party. I'm just putting all this together now in my head. I already take magnesium and GABA. And yeah, like I say, I don't really struggle with my sleep, so maybe there's something in that. But I'd be really interested to hear from you. What supplements do you find work really well and have helped you with restful sleep? Um, and finally, tip number 10, good nutrition. Of course, it all comes back to what we feed our bodies, how we nourish our bodies. The times when I don't get a good night's sleep tend to be the times when I've eaten really badly and I've eaten too much sugar. So if you can eliminate or reduce sugar, if you can eliminate or reduce caffeine, or at least don't drink caffeine after midday, and if you can have less carbs with your evening meal, less starchy foods with your evening meal, more proteins and more fats, there's an increasing amount of research that's showing that the more protein and fat we eat in our evening meals, the better we sleep. So reducing carbohydrates, reducing sugar, reducing caffeine intake, reducing obviously alcohol. We don't need to say that here because we're not taking alcohol, but yeah, reduction of all of those things really, really helps aid a good night's sleep. So those are my top 10 tips. I should have just done a summary. So the summary is: 1, lower your temperature before you go to bed. 2, practice relaxation techniques. 3, keep a rough sleep schedule. 4, keep your body experiencing that contrast between daylight and darkness at night time. Make sure your bedroom is a calm, relaxing, and inviting environment. Number 6, cut out screens before bed. Number 7, the more physical exercise, the better, especially if you can do it outdoors in the fresh air. Number 8, pen and paper. If you can get your thoughts out of your head and onto pen and paper, that's really helpful too. Number 9, you might want to look at supplements. And number 10, good nutrition. And I'm just going to finish by saying I would love to hear your recommendations. I would love to hear of those tips and maybe some of your own that I haven't listed here. What has helped you to get a good night's sleep and to regularly get a good night's sleep? I would love to hear from you. I will look forward to catching up with you, lovely people, in tomorrow's Saturday Share. That's in the Go Get Sober Facebook group. If you're not already there, come along and say hello. I'll look forward to catching up with you then. But in the meantime, let's go get sober together. Bye for now.